Oh, I like the way that you were getting interest from retailers and wholesalers and things like that.
Instead of just borrowing someone who lends you money, and then, and obviously that helps you for sure if you're going down that route 100%. Every business needs capital in order to operate, but, the next level is to really, I work with Lori Grenier, so not only does she invest in the company, but she also bought me some of my largest customers.
Wow.
No bank's going to do that for you. Somebody, could be somebody that helps you grow, like a bank, and that gives credibility to, what I do, that somebody like that is, interested enough in my business to invest and to be on board and help me sell, So the strategic partner doesn't have to be that, though. It doesn't have to be, a shark from Shark Tank. I mean, not that many people are get that opportunity. It could be anybody. It could be fulfillment, somebody who does your fulfillment or helps you with fulfillment. It could be different kind of a partner who can help you grow your business in some way, shape, or form. And everybody's got to bring something to the table.
That makes sense. We're talking to Stephen Hirsch with Biagi right here on Radio for Small Business at homebabiz.com. He's already talked to us about raising capital, being on the Shark Tank, even borrowing, not having a business plan of borrowing, and then being able to factor as well. Stephen, with you guys' line of products, where are you seeing that the most people are liking it or loving it? What kind of feedback are you getting?
We get great feedback. I mean, I have a very niche product. It's, luggage is a very broad category. It's not, people don't travel necessarily that often, and there's so many different kinds of products in the category, and we sell a very specialized product. So our customers are very loyal customers. These are people who really do, feel that we solve a problem for them, and we get a lot of repeat business, which is obviously the ultimate feedback and positive feedback that you could get.
They're definitely loving it then. Stephen Hirsch, owner of Biagi. Biagi.com. How do you spell that?
Biaggi.com.
Okay, Biaggi.com. Stephen Hirsch, thanks for taking your time out here at homebabiz.com.
Thank you.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new Radio for Small Business.
It's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe. Visit us on homebabiz.com. My next guest used the things that he puts in his products to protect America downrange, and now he's deals and things like that. What percentage or how much of that training actually, bred you to make sure you were going to be successful in business as well?
A ton of it did. I mean, the first things first is they teach you accountability there. A lot of us think that we're grown up and mature, and then you get into a pressure cooker like SEAL training, and you realize that, I'm really not as mature as I thought I was. They teach you right off the bat that excuses don't mean anything. We don't want to hear your excuses. We don't care why you're late. We don't care why you didn't make your time. And, that really translates over into business, because you can have all the excuses in the world for why your product, business, or your service isn't doing good. But at the end of the day, if you're not making money, then, you're going to be out of business really soon. That was definitely valuable. The whole leadership thing was very valuable. Lead at every level. As special operators, we go into some of the most violent cities in the world, sometimes with, 4 guys, sometimes 10 guys. And when you're doing that, you have to know that your leadership might get taken out, injured, or killed. And so you have to know how to lead, step up, and, take care of business. And that's been hugely important involved.
Wow.
We were taking 50 caliber dummy ammunition and turning them into bottle openers. We did not come up with this idea. We just made this idea way better, and we, applied a solid branding to it. Breacher, I wanted the brand to be something that stood out and something that, people could get behind. And, a breacher in the SEAL teams is an operator whose job is to get us into whatever target we're hitting, whether he does it explosively or mechanically. And so, I knew you had to get into that bottle of suds somehow, so why not breach it? So Bottle Breacher got a nice ring to it, and we've found that people, have really gotten behind our Made in the USA, better known brand.
That's right. Now, most of the product is actually made by U.S. veterans and U.S. citizens, right?
Yeah. So we have. It's just to be completely upfront. We're not. Our business isn't complete. $800,000 in sales in 2014 before the Shark Tank. After the Shark Tank, we did over $5 million. So if people don't think that it's a real show and that it adds real value, then you're sadly mistaken. First of all. Secondly, it's been. I didn't really go on the Shark Tank seeking money, even though money is great. It can infuse your business. What I really wanted was I wanted tactical partners that could get me into doors that would take me 4 to 5 years to get into myself. And, guys that could help guide and mentor us along the way. And that's what I was really seeking. Along with it, you get, obviously, we got $150,000, 75 from Mark Cuban, 75 from Kevin O'Leary. But the other thing that you get is the exposure of the Shark Tank. And, that show is rerun constantly in the United States, all over the world. And every time it gets rerun, we see a spike in sales. So it's been amazing.
That's pretty awesome. We've been talking, and we're still talking to Eli.
They don't realize of taking on a tactical partner who also can infuse income and capital into your business. They want to keep control over everything. And they want to be 100% owner, and that's great, and it's fine. But a lot of the times, they're never able to take their business to the next level because of it, and that's why I say they own 100% of nothing.
And that's a good thing to say. I remember hearing even Kevin O'Leary say that, he had a problem with his original company that he sold to Mattel, and he brought in another guy to solve that problem, and he gave that guy equity, and as a result, $4 billion later, they were a multi-billion-dollar sale or something like that. So
absolutely.
I definitely agree with that. So let's kind of switch gears just a little bit and preparing to get onto the show. Not necessarily applying, but what else is going through your head as far as preparing? Questions they might ask, things they may want to know, things that you need to still learn about your own business. What was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind is that we were only going to get one shot at this, and I've had a lot of failures in my life. Most of them were because I didn't properly prepare. Most of it was because I took kind of a lackadaisical, I'm going to do this kind of half-assed mentality, and I knew that wasn't going to work on the Shark Tank. So, we knew, nothing's worse than watching the Shark Tank and watching entrepreneurs fumble through their pitch and then not being able to answer questions. So I definitely sought out as many advisors. It had solid reputations that had been there, done that, and had been successful in multiple businesses. And I just had them put me through the pressure cooker. I would bring these guys in, and I would have them grill me and Jen, for hours at a time, asking us any and every question that they could think of, and then we would do it again. Wow. And, that was so important to our success on Shark Tank because, you see about probably 8 or 9 minutes of it on television, but what you don't realize is that me and Jen were in the tank for an hour and 20 minutes getting grilled. So, so you better know your stuff. You better be ready. And that doesn't mean you have to know the answer to every question. These guys understand it. Hell, I was in the Navy at the time. They know that I wasn't some seasoned entrepreneur with, 5 successful businesses and 20 years under my belt. But they knew that we knew what we were talking about. They knew that our sales were solid, and they knew that we weren't going to run from adversity. And I think that's so important because when you do a deal, when you make an